the power of the words you say when you wake up. Have you ever stopped to think about the first words that cross your mind when you wake up? I'm going to be late. I have so much to do I can't do it. If these thoughts sound familiar, know that it's no coincidence that you start the day already feeling under pressure. What you say to yourself when you wake up shapes your entire daily reality. Stoicism, practiced by Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca, gets straight to the point. Mental discipline begins at the first moment of the day. They didn't wait for motivation. They began with powerful phrases that strengthened the mind, reinforced purpose, and prepared for chaos. In this video, you'll discover 15 Stoic phrases you should repeat every day when you wake up, not as a mere affirmation, but as a commitment to who you want to be. Each of these phrases is a practical tool for strengthening your focus, courage, and inner peace. If you want to stop starting your day reacting to the world and start acting with intention, watch until the end. These words can change not only your day, but your life. Phrase 1. Today I will focus on what depends on me. This phrase, simple, direct, powerful, is the central pillar of Stoicism. And when you repeat it upon waking, you are doing much more than a mental exercise. You are reprogramming your mind for conscious action and inner peace. According to Epictetus, one of the greatest masters of Stoicism, men are disturbed not by things, but by the opinions they hold about things. And the greatest source of anxiety comes from a fundamental error, wasting energy trying to control the uncontrollable, while neglecting what is in your control. What is not under your control, what people think of you, the results of your actions, the past, the future, the behavior of others, criticism, rejection, unexpected events. These are external realities important, but beyond your direct control. You can influence, but never dominate. What is under your control? Your thoughts and judgments, your choices and decisions, your effort and actions, your attitude toward adversity, the way you respond to what happens. This is where your true power lies. When you internalize this, something profound happens. Your mind calms. You stop worrying about what you can't change and direct your energy toward what truly matters, your actions. Imagine you're about to give an important presentation. If you focus on what you can't control, your boss's reaction, the outcome, your colleagues' judgment, will feel anxious, insecure, and perhaps even discouraged before you even begin. But if you focus on what you control, your preparation, your clarity, your posture, you stay on course, even without guarantees. This clarity is what restores your focus. You stop being a drifting boat, pushed by the waves of opinions and results, and become the captain of your own ship. And that's exactly what the phrase "today I will focus on what depends on me" does. It reminds you from the very first moment of the day that your peace doesn't depend on the world, but on the quality of your mind. You don't need to control everything to act. You just need to act with clarity, and that's where true strength comes from. Focusing on what's yours and letting go of the rest. Phrase 2. I am not what happens to me. I am what I choose to be. This phrase is a powerful reminder of inner freedom. In today's world, we tend to define who we are by what happens. I failed, therefore I am a failure. I've been rejected, so I'm not good enough. I'm tired, so I can't. But Stoicism offers a liberating truth. You are not a victim of your circumstances. You are the author of your response to them. Marcus Aurelius, emperor of a collapsing empire, faced war, betrayal, illness, and the death of his children. Even surrounded by suffering, he wrote in his diary, "You have power over your mind, not over external events. Realize this, and you will find strength." He knew that, no matter how hard the world hit him, his dignity depended solely on his choices. Epictetus, born a slave with a crippled leg, lived under constant oppression. But he taught, it is not things that disturb men but their opinions about things. For him, true slavery was not physical, it was emotional. And freedom began with a decision to act with integrity, even without complete control. This phrase, "I am not what happens to me, I am what I choose to be," is a mental shield. It protects you from defining your worth by unfair criticism, a rejected project, a bad day, a past mistake. Because you are not what you lost, you are what continues. You are not what you failed, you are what you learned. You are not what you suffered, you are what you chose to be afterward. You can apply this today. When someone judges you, remember, it doesn't define you. Your response does. When you fail, say, "This happened, and I choose to move on." When you feel weak, remember, your strength lies not in the absence of pain, but in the courage to act despite it. Stoicism doesn't promise a world without adversity. It promises something more powerful, the ability to hold firm to your identity even when everything around you changes. And that's exactly what this phrase does. When you wake up, it reaffirms who you are, not by luck, not by applause, but by choice, not by commitment, by character. Because in the end, you won't be remembered for what happened to you. You will be remembered for what you chose to do with it. Phrase 3. The day will be hard, and I will be stronger. This phrase isn't pessimism, it's preparation, it's anticipatory courage. It's the essence of the Stoic practice, called premeditatio malorum, the rational anticipation of the worst. While most people avoid thinking about what could go wrong for fear of attracting trouble, Stoicism teaches the opposite. Face the worst clearly so it doesn't surprise you, because what paralyzes us most is not the difficulty itself, but the shock of not being prepared for it. Marcus Aurelius, surrounded by war, betrayal, and plague, wrote every morning, "Remember, today you will face ingratitude, treachery, aggression, and yet you will choose to act justly." He didn't live in fear. He lived in mental control. He knew that by imagining the worst, he strengthened his response to it. This phrase, "The day will be difficult, and I will be stronger," is a ritual of empowerment. It doesn't wait for a smooth day. It expects resistance and prepares to overcome it. When you say this upon waking, you are saying, "If someone criticizes me, I will not react with pain. If a plan fails, I will not give up. If I feel tired, I will continue. If the world is unfair, I will be fair." It's like training for a storm before it arrives. You don't avoid the rain, but you stop being surprised by it. Epictetus said, "The wise man does not wait for ideal conditions. He prepares for the real ones." And that's exactly what you do when you repeat this phrase. You stop relying on luck, and start trusting in your resilience, premeditatio. Malorum isn't about giving in to disaster. It's about saying, what if I'm rejected? What if I lose my job? What if someone betrays me? And answering, if it happens, I will face it. With courage, with dignity. That's how you eliminate the power of fear. Not by running away from it, but by facing it head on. And that's why this phrase is so powerful upon waking. It transforms anxiety into clarity, fear into preparedness, and paralysis into conscious action. You don't need to control the day. You just need to be ready for it. And when challenges come, and they will, you will have already decided, you will not be broken. You will be strengthened because the day may be difficult, but you will be stronger. Phrase 4. I don't need motivation. I need discipline. This phrase throws cold water on the modern illusion that you need to feel good to act. The truth is this: motivation is volatile, fleeting, unpredictable. It comes with the enthusiasm at the beginning, but disappears midday, just when you most need to keep going. Discipline, on the other hand, doesn't depend on your emotional state. It is reliable, consistent, available every day even when you don't want to get up, even when everything seems against you. Marcus Aurelius didn't wait to feel inspired to rule an empire. He acted out of duty, out of commitment to his role, and that's exactly what Stoicism teaches. You don't need to be excited to be faithful. Have you ever had days when you woke up energized, wrote a plan, started a new habit, and 2 days later, everything stopped? It was the motivation that died, and without it you felt like you couldn't continue. But the problem wasn't a lack of will, it was believing you needed it. True transformation doesn't begin with a burst of inspiration. It begins with a repeated choice. Even without enthusiasm, that's waking up early even when tired. It's studying even when you don't feel like it. It's writing a sentence even without knowing if you'll write a book, Seneca said. It's not lack of time, it's lack of will that holds us back. But will doesn't come from nowhere. It's exercised through action. Every time you choose to act without motivation, you strengthen your ability to change. Discipline doesn't eliminate tiredness, laziness, or doubt, it acts despite them. And that's what separates those who change from those who remain stagnant, not the absence of difficulties, but the decision to move forward anyway. Imagine two warriors, one who only fights when he's motivated, and another who fights every day, even when injured. Who do you think will win? You don't need more motivation, you need commitment to say, today I'll do it even if I don't feel like it. Because that's how you build a life, going with purpose, not with grand sporadic gestures, but with small, courageous choices every day. And that's why repeating this phrase upon waking is so powerful. It kills excuses, it eliminates waiting, it reminds you what it reminds you. You don't need to feel ready, you just need to start. With discipline, with duty, with quiet courage, because the world isn't for those with the most energy, it's for those with the most constancy. Phrase 5. My peace doesn't depend on anyone but me. This phrase is an act of emotional liberation. It cuts the invisible thread that connects your tranquility to other people's opinions, to recognition, to validation. How many times have you felt shaken by a comment, a silence, a criticism, if the value of your day depended on someone else's reaction? Stoicism reveals an uncomfortable truth. When you surrender your peace to someone who doesn't live your life, you become a hostage. You constantly react, justify, and adjust who you are to please. And with that, you lose the most important freedom, the freedom to be true to yourself. Marcus Aurelius, surrounded by courtiers who lived to please, wrote in his diary, "Do what is right. The rest doesn't matter." He didn't need applause. His peace came from the knowledge that he acted with justice, courage, and moderation, even when no one noticed. Epictetus, born a slave, taught, the wise man is not disturbed by things, but by the opinions he holds about them. In other words, it's not criticism that hurts you, it's believing it defines who you are. And that's exactly where you lose control. When you say upon waking, my peace depends on no one but myself, you are declaring independence. It's saying, I don't need praise to know I'm on the right path. I don't need understanding to move forward with courage. I don't need approval to act with integrity. This phrase is a shield against comparison on social media, the fear of being judged, the need to prove yourself because you already know who you are, and no one can take that away from you unless you allow it. Seneca said, "It is unbearable to depend on the judgment of someone who doesn't even respect themselves." Think about it. Why are you handing over your well-being to someone who doesn't even know your story? You can apply this today by submitting a project without expecting praise, by following your path, even if others choose another, by maintaining your posture, even in silence. True strength isn't in being admired, it's in being unshakable, acting with dignity, even when no one is watching. And that's exactly what this phrase strengthens upon awakening, an inner compass, a silent judge within you, and the certainty that, no matter what the world says, you already have everything you need to be at peace. Because peace isn't sought, it's built, with each choice aligned with what you know to be true. Phrase 6. I will be firm, but not rigid. This phrase captures one of Stoicism's wisest lessons. True strength lies not in rigidity, but in firmness with flexibility. It's easy to be inflexible, just shut yourself off, resist everything, refuse change, but that's not strength, it's fear, disguised as courage. True firmness, however, is something else. It's maintaining your inner compass, even when the wind changes. It's adapting without betraying your values. It's moving forward with clarity, but without arrogance. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire in constant flux, wars, epidemics, betrayals. He couldn't cling to fixed plans. He had to adjust course daily. But behind all this adaptation lay an unshakable principle to act with justice, courage, and moderation. He was firm in purpose, but flexible in execution. This phrase, I will be firm but not rigid, is a powerful morning reminder. You don't need to control the world to stay the course. You just need to know who you arraigned, be open to how to get there. Being firm is maintaining your values, even under pressure, keeping your promises, even when it's difficult, not giving up on your purpose, even in the face of obstacles. Being flexible is accepting that the plan can change, adjusting your approach when necessary, listening, learning, and evolving without losing your essence. The Stoics call this amor fati, the love of fate. It doesn't mean liking everything that happens, but accepting what you can't change and acting wisely on what you can. When the unexpected arrives, the Stoic doesn't panic. He breathes, evaluates, and adapts without losing his cool or his bearings. You can apply this today. If a project is postponed, don't give up, reorganize. If someone disappoints you, don't close your heart, keep your principles, but adjust your expectations. If the day gets out of control, don't collapse, breathe and start over. Life isn't a straight path, it's uneven terrain, and those who advance wisely are not those who refuse to deviate, but those who keeps walking, even when the path changes. This phrase prepares you for this. It eliminates the illusion of total control and replaces it with something more powerful, resilience with purpose. Because the world needs people who are firm but not rigid, who stand up for what's right, but know how to listen, who have convictions, but aren't afraid to change, and that's exactly what you build by repeating this phrase upon waking, a rare balance, strength with humility, clarity with adaptation, and the certainty that no matter what comes, you will be firm but never closed off. Phrase 7. Action comes before inspiration. This phrase is a direct antidote to modern paralysis. How many times have you put off something important because you didn't feel ready, motivated, or inspired? How many projects, habits, or changes have been left on paper because you waited for the right moment? Stoicism doesn't wait. It acts. In this phrase, action comes before inspiration, is a powerful reminder. You don't need to feel good to start. You start to feel good. Most people believe that inspiration comes first, but the truth is the opposite. Impulse is born from action, not the other way around. Don't feel motivated to get out of bed. Get up anyway. Don't feel like studying. Open the book. Don't feel creative. Write a sentence. The important thing is to break inertia, because it is in the first movement that rhythm is born. Marcus Aurelius didn't wait to feel courageous to govern. He governed, and with that, he strengthened his courage. Seneca didn't wait to feel wise to write. He wrote, and with that, he deepened his wisdom. The Stoics knew, practice creates the state of mind, not the other way around. You don't need a burst of motivation. You need 5 minutes. That's it. Put on your sneakers, write down an idea, make the difficult call. The rest comes later. This phrase is especially powerful upon waking because it kills the excuse before it even arises. You don't need to be excited. You just need to start. And that's how you build a purposeful life. Not with sporadic grand gestures, but with small daily actions, done even when you don't feel like it. Think about it. An athlete doesn't wait to feel strong to train. They train to become strong. You also don't need to feel inspired to act. You act to become capable, and that's why this phrase is so transformative. It reverses the logic of procrastination. You don't wait for the feeling, you create it with choice. So, by repeating action comes before inspiration upon waking, you are saying, today, I will not be held hostage by my emotions. Today, I will be the agent of my life. Today I begin not because I feel ready, but because I decide to be faithful. Because, in the end, it's not inspiration that changes your life, it's the courage to begin, even when nothing inside you tells you to. Phrase 8. Today I will not react, I will respond. Have you ever responded angrily to criticism and regretted it minutes later? Have you ever said something in the heat of the moment that hurt someone or yourself? If so, you are not alone. We live in a world that rewards quick reactions, instant messaging, immediate responses, heated debates. But Stoicism brings a liberating truth. True strength lies not in the speed of the response, but in its quality. The difference between reacting and responding is the difference between being ruled by emotions and being master of your mind. Reacting is automatic. It's the blind impulse of defense, anger, or fear. It's what happens when you receive a harsh email and respond immediately, when someone ignores you and you panic, when a plan changes and you give up. It's the autopilot action, quick, instinctive, often destructive. Responding, on the other hand, is conscious. It's pausing, breathing, asking, is this within my control? What is helpful here? What action is aligned with who I want to be? It's choosing to act based on values, not emotions. Marcus Aurelius, surrounded by betrayal and pressure, wrote, "You have power over your mind, not over external events. Realize this, and you will find strength." He didn't react to attacks. He responded calmly, clearly, and with dignity, because he knew that reaction belongs to the moment. Response belongs to character. This phrase, today, I will not react, I will respond, is a morning commitment to self-control. It's a reminder, you don't need to prove anything right now. You don't need to defend yourself. You don't need to win the argument. You just need to maintain your inner peace. You can apply this today. Before responding to a difficult message, wait 10 seconds. When you feel angry, close your eyes. Take a deep breath and ask, is this worth my energy? When faced with an unexpected event, don't panic. Ask, what can I do now? Epictetus said, the wise man is not disturbed by what he cannot control, and that's exactly what you build by. Repeating this phrase, an unshakable mind, a stance that is unwavering in provocation, criticism, or chaos. Seneca, surrounded by intrigue, wrote, the wise man does not defend himself, he is unassailable, because those who act with serenity, even under fire, do not give power to attack. And that's why this phrase is so powerful, it transforms your entire day. You stop being a hostage to the actions of others. You become an agent of your own life, because true power isn't in shouting first, it's in speaking clearly, not in reacting with pain, but in responding with purpose. And that's how you win calmly, with dignity, with the conscious choice today. I will not react, I will respond. Phrase 9. What matters is not what I've lost, but what I still have. This phrase is an antidote to bitterness, hurt, and feelings of emptiness. In today's world, we are trained to focus on what's missing, what we've lost, what we haven't achieved, what's been taken from us. But Stoicism teaches the opposite. True strength lies in recognizing what still remains. Marcus Aurelius, who faced wars, plagues, and the death of his children, wrote in his diary, do not pity yourself. You still have what is essential. He didn't ignore pain. He felt it deeply, but he chose not to define himself by it. He chose to look at what he still had, his mind, his values, his ability to act justly. This phrase, what matters is not what I've lost, but what I still have, is a daily exercise in stoic gratitude. It's not a denial of suffering, but a choice of focus. Because where you place your attention, you grow. Focusing on loss fuels sadness. Focusing on what remains strengthens resilience. Have you ever stopped to think about what you still have, even after a loss? Your health, your effort, your heart, that still beats. The people who still love you, the chance to start over, the freedom to choose how to move forward. Epictetus, born a slave with a crippled leg and subjected to oppression, said, never say you lost something, say you gave it back. For him, everything in life is borrowed. Time, possessions, relationships. And when something is gone, it's not theft, it's part of the nature of things. What matters is how you respond. This mindset isn't indifference, it's acceptance with dignity. It's knowing that, even in the midst of the storm, you still have something unshakable, your ability to choose your attitude. You can apply this today. If you missed an opportunity, remember you still have another chance. If you were betrayed, remember you still have your integrity. If you failed, remember you still have the courage to try again. If you're tired, remember, you still have the resolve to continue. Seneca wrote, the wise man does not regret what he does not have, he appreciates what he does have. And that's exactly what this phrase strengthens upon waking a grateful mind, not for comfort, but for strength. Because gratitude is not weakness, it is recognition of what is truly yours. And that's why repeating this phrase is so transformative. It shifts your focus from what is gone to what is still here. And in that space, peace is born. Courage. Hope. Because you can lose a lot, but as long as you have the ability to choose, to act, to follow, you still have everything you need to begin again. Phrase 10. I am the captain of my ship. This phrase is an affirmation of autonomy, courage, and responsibility. It evokes the powerful image of the Stoic navigator, someone who, even surrounded by storms, currents, and contrary winds, keeps a steady hand on the helm and a fixed gaze fixed on the horizon. Marcus Aurelius, emperor of a collapsing empire, faced war, betrayal, and disease like someone steering a ship at sea. He couldn't control the weather, the waves, or his enemies, but he knew he had the power to stay afloat because he was the captain. This metaphor is central to Stoicism. Don't control the sea, but you do control the direction of your ship. The world will always be unpredictable. People will disappoint you. Plans will fail. Unforeseen events will arise. But you don't have to drown. You just need to remember who's in charge. When you say upon waking, "I am the captain of my ship," you are saying, "My peace does not depend on the external weather. My choices are my own. Even under pressure, I can adjust the course, but I will not abandon the steering wheel." You are not a passenger in your life. You are responsible for it. And that is not a burden, it is a power. Epictetus, who lived as a slave, taught that true freedom lies not in external conditions, but in choosing one's own response. "You can bind my hands," he said, "but you cannot bind my will." Even without control over the world, he was the captain of his mind. This phrase is especially powerful for those who feel adrift by anxiety, by comparison, by fear of the future, because it gives you back real control, not over what happens, but over how you respond. You can apply this today. QWHEN, something unexpected happens. Don't panic. Ask, "How can I adjust course?" When someone tries to destabilize you, remember, they're not on my ship. When fatigue sets in, say, "I'm still in command." The captain doesn't wait for calm seas to sail. He sails even through the waves. And that's how resilience is built, not by avoiding chaos, but by navigating it with clarity. Seneca wrote, "It's not the wind that moves the boat, but the rudder." In other words, it's not the circumstances that define your life. It's the direction you choose to maintain. And that's exactly what this phrase strengthens upon waking. A sense of agency, a leadership stance toward yourself. The certainty that, no matter what the world throws at you, you still have the power to move forward because you are not the storm. You are the one navigating it, and as long as you remember this, you will never lose yourself. Phrase 11. Each day is a life in miniature. This phrase is an awakening to the depth of the present. It's not poetic, it's practical, and it comes from one of the most powerful truths of Stoicism. You don't live one long life, but many short lives, one per day. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Live each action as if it were your last," not out of pessimism, but out of clarity. He knew that time is finite, unpredictable, and that postponing life for one day is the quietest way to waste it. When you say upon waking, "Each day is a life in miniature," you are doing something radical. You stop postponing your existence. You don't need to wait for a new year, a promotion, or a complete transformation to start living with purpose. You can start today because today is all you have. The Stoic doesn't live for the future. He lives the present with intention. He knows there are no guarantees of tomorrow, and so he treats each day as if it were the only one he's been given, with courage, justice, moderation. Have you ever put off important decisions? "I'll start tomorrow when I have more time after everything calms down." But what if that day never comes? What if someday never comes? This phrase shatters the illusion. It reminds you that this day is your life. Now it is in this day that you choose to be faithful or betray your values, to act courageously or hide, to take care of your mind or lose yourself in the chaos. Seneca said, "We don't have a short time, we'll live a short time." Time is plentiful. It is stolen by distraction, by procrastination, by the belief that there will be a better time. But the better time is this, the only real time you can apply this. Today, instead of scrolling through your phone when you wake up, get up and do something that matters. When a difficult choice arises, ask, "If this were my last day, what would I do?" At the end of the day, reflect, "Did I live this day as if it were my only one?" Each morning is a new beginning, a new birth, a new life. And if you live each one with purpose, you won't have to wonder in the end if you truly lived. Because it's not the number of days that defines a life well lived, it's the intensity with which each one was lived. And that's why repeating this phrase upon waking is so transformative. It eliminates the excuse of procrastination. It brings emotional urgency. It reminds you don't need to change everything today. You just need to live this day as if it were the most important, because, in essence, it's the only one you have. Sentence 12. Failure doesn't define me, it teaches me. This phrase is a powerful reminder of resilience and humility. In today's world, where everything is judged, compared, and exposed, failure is treated as shame, something to be hidden, avoided, feared. But Stoicism offers a liberating perspective. Failure is not the end, it's part of the journey. Marcus Aurelius ruled a collapsing empire, faced wars, betrayals, and profound losses. In the midst of it all, he wrote, "The obstacle to progress, that becomes the path." For him, every difficulty was an opportunity to practice courage, justice, and patience. Failure didn't invalidate your purpose. Tested your commitment to it. When you wake up and say, "Failure doesn't define me, it teaches me," you are doing something revolutionary, separating who you are from what happened. You are not the project that was rejected. You are not the decision that failed. You are not the fear that paralyzed you. You are the choice to get up, learn, and move on. Epictetus, born a slave, said, "The wise man does not get lost because he always has a direction. Even if he strays, he knows where he's going." A mistake is not an abandonment of an adjustment in direction. And that's exactly what you build with this phrase, a mind that isn't broken by error, but strengthened by it. You can apply this today. If you fail at a task, ask, "What can I learn from this?" If you are rejected, say, "This doesn't erase my worth. It only shows me a path that wasn't mine." If you procrastinate, don't punish yourself. Just start over. The next moment is mine. The Stoic doesn't deny the pain of error. Acknowledge it, process it, and move on. Because you know that true strength lies not in the absence of failure, but in the courage to continue. Seneca wrote, "It is not what happens but how you respond that defines your life." And that's exactly what this phrase strengthens upon awakening. A growth mindset, a posture of constant learning. The certainty that each mistake is a stepping stone, not a wall, because in the end, the greatest failure is not making a mistake, it's never having started. And the Stoic knows, if you act with integrity, each failure is a step towards true triumph. So, by repeating this phrase, you're not ignoring mistakes, you're transforming them into teachers, and that's how you build an unshakable life, not with perfection, but with the courage to try, fail, and try again. Sentence 13. My strength lies in silence. This phrase is an act of silent power. In a world that values noise, the shout, the post, the immediate reaction, the public defense, saying that your strength lies in silence is a radical choice. It is the mark of someone who doesn't need to prove, justify, or defend themselves to know who they are. Stoicism doesn't glorify scandal. It glorifies discreet action, invisible discipline, the courage that needs no witnesses. Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man in the world, wrote Meditations as a personal diary never to be read. He didn't seek applause. He sought justice, moderation, clarity. His strength lay not in what he displayed, but in what he chose. In private, when you say upon waking, "My strength lies in silence," you are declaring emotional independence. You are saying, "I don't need to respond to every criticism. I don't need to justify my decisions. I don't need to prove my worth to those who don't live by my principles." You are not weak for not reacting. You are strong for choosing not to enter into chaos. Epictetus taught, "The wise man is not disturbed by what he cannot control." And one of the things we cannot control is the opinions of others. But we can control our response to it. And the most powerful response, often, is silence. Not out of fear. Not out of indifference. Out of dignity. This silence is not passivity. It's presence. It is the choice to act with integrity, even when no one is watching. It is continuing the path even when ignored. It is writing a page, training in the dark, maintaining discipline without needing to announce it. You can apply this today. When receiving unfair criticism, take a deep breath and move on. When being ignored, remember, my worth does not depend on recognition. When feeling the pressure to react, say, "My peace is more important than my retort." Seneca, surrounded by wealth and danger, chose to live simply and speak only when necessary. He knew, what is truly yours cannot be taken from you. The rest was never yours. And that's exactly what this phrase strengthens upon awakening. An unshakable mind, an identity based on actions, not opinions. The certainty that those who truly have power don't need to shout for attention. Because true triumph isn't being the loudest, it is being the most steadfast. It's acting courageously, with clarity, with purpose and silence. And that's how you win, without noise, without excuses, without need for applause, with the quiet strength of someone who knows who they are. Phrase 14. Today, I choose what strengthens me. This phrase is a daily commitment to self-mastery in a world full of distractions, pressures, and constant temptations. Repeating upon waking, "Today I choose what strengthens me," is like drawing a line in the sand. I will not be governed by what is easy, but by what is right. Stoicism doesn't believe in sudden changes. It believes in repeated choices, because it's not grand gestures that build character, it's the small, daily decisions, getting out of bed, resisting procrastination, refusing a distraction, speaking truthfully. When you say this phrase at dawn, you are taking control of 3 essential pillars. Habits, you choose what nourishes your mind and body. Distractions, you reject what distracts you from your purpose. Decisions, you prioritize what builds your strength, not what brings momentary relief. Have you ever made choices that, in the moment, seemed good but left you weaker later? Staying up late scrolling on your phone, avoiding a difficult conversation, eating what doesn't nourish you, postpone what matters. The Stoic knows, every choice is a brick in your future, and if you want to build an unshakable life, you need to choose strong materials. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not over external events." And this phrase is the practice of that. You don't control the world, but you control what you allow into it. You don't control temptations, but you control your response to them. You can apply this today. When you wake up, Choose to get up, even if you're tired. This strengthens your disposition. Cip Lena. When you feel like scrolling through social media, choose to read, write, or reflect. This strengthens your mind. When facing criticism, choose to respond calmly. This strengthens your self-control. When feeling insecure, choose to act anyway. This strengthens your courage. Seneca said, "It is not great deeds that build character, it is small choices, faithfully repeated." And that is exactly what you are practicing with this phrase. The quiet courage to choose the best, even when the easiest is within reach, because the world doesn't change because of grand promises. It changes because of small decisions, made every day with purpose. And that's why repeating today, "I choose what strengthens me," is so powerful. It eliminates the excuse of weakness, it puts you in charge, and it transforms each day into an act of building, not of perfection, but of character. Because in the end you won't be remembered for what you said, but for what you chose, even when no one was looking. Phrase 15. To begin again is my right every day. This phrase is a daily act of grace, a silent forgiveness, a guaranteed fresh start. Because in today's world, many carry the weight of what they failed to do, what they didn't do, what they could have been. They live trapped in the past as if one bad day, one wrong decision, or one moment of weakness defined who they are. But Stoicism brings profound liberation. Each new dawn is a clean opportunity. There are no emotional debts that need to be paid with suffering. There is no necessary penance. There is only the possibility of starting over now. When you say upon waking, "To begin again is my right every day," you are doing something powerful, refusing to be held hostage by yesterday. You don't need to erase the mistake, you just need to not let it steal your today. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "When you go to bed, release the day. When you wake, begin again." He didn't demand perfection. He demanded clarity. He knew that an emperor, like any human being, would fail. But what mattered wasn't the mistake, it was the decision to move forward with dignity. This phrase doesn't promote negligence, it promotes responsibility with compassion. You acknowledge the mistake, you learn from it, and then let it go. Because true character isn't measured by the absence of faults, but by the courage to continue. Have you ever found yourself paralyzed by a past mistake? A day when you gave up, reacted with anger, postponed what mattered, and in doing so, let the rest of the day be tainted by guilt. But the Stoic doesn't live like that. He knows the previous day is gone, and the new day doesn't come with judgment, it comes with possibility. Seneca said, "It doesn't matter where you are, but where you are going." And that's exactly what this phrase strengthens upon waking. A sense of renewal, an open door, the right to be better. Not because you were perfect, but because you chose to begin again. You don't have to wait for Monday or next month or a new year. The new beginning begins now, with a breath, with a choice, with a simple decision. Today, I begin again, because you are not what you did yesterday, you are what you choose to be today. And each morning is an invitation not to correct the past, but to live in the present with purpose, with courage, with peace. And that's why repeating this phrase is so transformative. It eliminates the prison of regret, it empowers the present, and reminds you that no matter what happened, you always have the right to begin again. Today, now without guilt, with hope. You've just discovered 15 Stoic phrases to say to yourself every morning when you wake up. Practical tools used by Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca to strengthen your mind, stay focused, and live with purpose. From "I will focus on what depends on me" to "beginning anew is my right every day." Each phrase is a reminder. You don't have to change everything at once, you just need to start with clarity. Every day. The mind transforms with repetition, with discipline, with intention, and that's how you build an unshakable life, not with grand gestures, but with small choices, made courageously, every day. Now, don't wait. Choose a phrase, just one, and repeat it when you wake up tomorrow. Write it down, say it out loud, feel it. Then add another, and then another. Small words, repeated consistently, build a strong mindset. If this content resonated with you, like it, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe to the channel for more videos on inner strength, purpose, and living with clarity. Because what you say to yourself when you wake up doesn't just change your day, it can change your life.